Hey guys, camera for Empire Season 2, Episode 16, The Lion Who Cried Wolf, and I was definitely looking forward to this episode because it looked like what last week's episode should have been. Last week's episode just felt like a random episode. I don't really know, like I said, it didn't really amount to anything. We got some stuff here and there, like, you know, for example, Hakeem deciding to be the father to Anika's child, as well as being a boyfriend to Laura. We had that go on. We had, of course, the whole situation go on with, with Jamal discovering that band. We found that out, but other than that, not much happened really in last week's episode, and of course, Andre did find Leah and heard about her, but this really was the episode where a lot of things start to move, and I think was probably one of the best episodes this season. Definitely up there with the best ones. I absolutely love this episode. One of my favorite episodes of Empire we've had so far. I absolutely love this episode. There were some incredible things about it. There were some things that I thought was a little bit silly. We will get into that, but other than one plot that I really wasn't a fan of, other than that, I really enjoyed this episode. That was very well done, and let's just get into this episode because there's a lot to talk about, and especially that ending. I know you guys definitely want me to talk about that. So we start with the bingo game at the old folks home. We see Andres with Leah playing, and another patient says that Leah cheats, and Andre asks if they treat her okay there. She says not Monday because of meatloaf, and the other patients keep talking, and I love these scenes between Andre and Leah. Two people that have bipolar, but two people who are handling very differently. Andre is very reserved in this situation, and Leah already is kind of creeping me out here. Andre asks if Leah's family comes to see her. Someone else says bingo. Leah throws her pieces, says check his card. She says the boy is famous now, and he never gave her a chance. Leah says that his eyes and reaches out to touch his face, and she asks if they're family, and which of course we know that they are, and she doesn't know, of course, that, you know, Andre is her son, you know, her son's her son's son. You know, she doesn't know that, and she doesn't realize that that's her grandson. So Jamal and Hakeem are in the studio recording, and Becky's there listening. Becky tells him to come out and says it's dope, and Hakeem says he needs to get the song into the Ryan Coogler movie, and Becky asks which girl he's going to use, and he says he wants to use Tiana. That's the best thing to do, and Jamal and Becky think that Laura won't like that, but he says that it's business. You know, he really feels that, you know, Tiana will fit better on this song than Laura ever will. Not that Laura's not great, but Tiana is so much more popular than Laura. When it really comes down to it, sales, you know, especially, that's very important. I mean, who's going to sell more, Laura or Tiana? People know Tiana a lot more than they know Laura, and it's a very interesting scene. The situation that we're in, I thought this was really well done because it seemed very realistic. Yes, it made sense that Hakeem chooses, you know, Tiana over Laura. Not because of the fact that he thinks, you know, Tiana's better. He just thinks that for this song, Tiana's better suited than Laura is. So Cookie talks to the ASA guy about how much stage time she needs, and Lucious comes in, greets D Major. D Major wants them to perform one of Jamal's songs since he's most nominated, and Lucious insults Cookie, who calls him fat ass. It takes D Major to meet Jamal, and Lucious tags along, and Cookie calls Jamal over, introduces him. He says he's excited about the remix as the Lion family anthem, and Lucious says that his mother trading his solo. Jamal says no trading his solos, and D Major says to ASAs and says if you want to be on the biggest stage, don't throw a hissy fit, then walk out. And Becky, it's a very interesting scene with what's going on here. You can see they really do want to make this song together. Becky then goes to Portia, which we haven't seen Portia in a while, honestly. It's been a while since we've seen Becky and Portia, even Tiana. We haven't seen these in a while. And she hands her the Empire Bible, says it tells you what to do and not to do. She reads it over to cover. Portia hugs her. Becky says step up your game, makes a face at her clothes, and I do like some of the humorous scenes we've gotten between these two. They've shown before that Becky and Portia do work very well together. They provide this really witty, fun dynamic that we really do have here, because in a show like Empire where there's so much going on, it is fun that we do have to have some fun with the characters, and I definitely do love that. So Hakeem tells Cookie he's not singing backup for Lucious at the ASAs because he just doesn't want to do that, and, you know, he's not someone that sings backup. He sings in front, and she says don't be late to rehearsal, and Candace shows up, calls Cookie Laretha, and Cookie says don't call me by my government name. Carol's there, asks if something is wrong with her kids, and Candace says they need to be with you, but Cookie says that she just got out of rehab, and Candace says the kids are coming there after winter break. And I like the scenes between Candace, Carol, and Cookie because you really do feel like sisters. You get that sisterly dynamic. It really feels like an organic family, and I like that. Candace says the kids are coming there after winter break. Cookie says that she only has 2 bedrooms, and Candace says she has bunk beds. Cookie walks away annoyed, and obviously, you know, she's not just gonna loan out her house to her kids. You know, she's not gonna do that. So Jamal talks to D Major, but he wants the anthem, and Jamal says he's tired of old things. Jamal gets pushy with him, and D Major says don't grab me, then kicks everyone out. He tells Wink to shut the door, then go, and then D Major says he knows he's visionary and he has a show to present. They get in each other's face, and D Major kisses him, and he says he's been wanting to do that all day. So Jamal does for what he wants, and so does he, and they kiss passionately, and it's a very interesting scene. Tiana's recording with Akeem. D Major backs off after a rough kiss, and you can tell right away that D Major is not out. People do not know that he's gay. They don't know that he is out. And for me, I don't know. D Major, I like this guy. I do. I think that him and Jamal work well together. I think that it definitely makes sense that they're together. But for me, this just seemed like this was a way of getting to see Jamal's views on gays. And Jamal goes to him. They start pulling off clothes. And Hakeem raps as Tiana sings. Jamal and D Major are rough with each other and are heating up fast. And Hakeem stares at her. Hakeem tells her it's hot and he wants it on the soundtrack. He says it's late. And she says he'd usually go to the club now, but he's got a wife and a baby mama, and it really does show how grounded Hakeem is trying to be. You know, he's trying to juggle these two things, and he's, for the most part, doing a good job, surprisingly. I really did not think this was going to go well, but it really does seem like things are going well. He's able to balance both. You know, he has time for Laura as much time as he has for Anika, and I'm surprised about that, but I think they did that really well here. So Tiana kisses his cheek, goes and he stares at her butt as she leaves, which, of course, you know, Hakeem's always going to be sort of like a player like that. So Cookie tells Portia to do some stuff. She said that he's not CEO, assistant stuff, and Hakeem and Jamal still talk, and Lucious wants all the food out of there, and the boys joke about him trying to lose weight for the ASAs. Lucious and plays piano. Jamal says she changed his song, and it's played out, and he's really upset because he wants this song to be a certain way, and Lucious changed it. And Cookie says that they will get Hakeem's verse in there. Cookie makes suggestions, and Lucious says that he wants his plan. And Cookie says that they sound like snitch bitches and says that she's running the show, and she won't let them mess it up. And she says, put your big girl drawers on and work it out. And Cookie asks if they even know what family means. And then we get to what this episode is really about. All the great stuff in this episode. This episode I thought was already really well done. I was actually really enjoying it. I was like, wow, I'm actually really enjoying this episode, which I have been enjoying it lately, but this scene, I mean, really set this up to be one of Empire's best episodes. Andre is there, interrupts, says the question is intriguing, then says he has someone with him from a point of view. He brings Leah in, calls her grandma, says this is his family. So this is her family. She walks over to them. Jamal says, what does he mean, grandma? And Cookie asks, who is this lady? Leah toddles over to him, says Dwight, and just says Dwight, and the look on Lucious's face. This is the one person that Lucious never wanted to run into. He did not realize that he thought that she was dead, obviously, and this really is horrifying him, just knowing that she's alive. I mean, it really does feel something like out of a horror movie, and this episode portrays as nothing less than that, which I really love. So Cookie, of course, wants to know who she is, and Leah toddles over to him, says Dwight. Cookie asks who this is, and what this is, and Andre says this is Leah Walker, Lucious' mother. And Andre tells them how he sent her to a home for 21 years and left her there and sent hush money. And I will say that I did think they did a good time to get, they did do a good job of getting us to get behind Leah's character. Like, we understood why Leah is so upset with Lucious and why Leah feels like, really is mad at Lucious for what he did. I mean, yes, he did send her away for 21 years and everything and left her there. And, he hasn't really talked about her. He said that she's dead when clearly she hasn't been, and she is blaming on him. Now, I don't know if Leah doesn't know that she's mentally unstable, which I feel like is very evident here, that she doesn't really realize that she is mentally stable, but I did think this worked very well in the sense that you really did see that Leah does understand, really does have a reason to be mad at Lucious here. So Jamal says it can't be true. Andre says Harper Scott gave him the files, and he can't lie his way out of it. Lucious shudders and steps back from her, and he tells Andre he has no idea what he's done. He storms out. Hakeem and Jamal are in shock. Jamal says the look in his face is something, and Hakeem takes a call from Laura. D Major gets offended when Jamal says there's family stuff going on. He walks out mad, and Cookie, of course, asks Lucious why he lied. He says because, she thinks that he's lying to her. He says he didn't. She asks about the video. He says that it's the truth. He says his mother tried to drown him, put a gun to her head, and pulled the trigger, and told an 8-year-old boy that it is his fault. And that's always haunted Lucious. Like, we really have understood why Lucious is the way he is, and he said that there were no bullets in the gun. He says his mother died the day they locked her up, and this just isn't his mother. He knows that, and he says that he tripped over her when they had 2 kids and were on welfare after she was put on the street, and he says that he needed her to stay dead, and says none of them understand how dangerous that she really is. I mean, she's not coming across as dangerous now, but he really knows deep down how conniving, dangerous, and just, irrational that his mother really is, and we'll get into that. But Laura then rants to Hakeem about using Tiana on a song that will go platinum, and I thought that she was completely in the right here. I mean, obviously, Hakeem has reasons for doing it, but he didn't even consult her first. He blames it on the producer, says she can't be all on all his duets. She says Tiana's still feeling him, but he says he's with her and kisses her, then hugs her tight, and it's a good scene. I did understand, obviously, why she was upset, because of the fact that she's not on this track, but I'm not exactly a fan of this whole Laura Tiana thing, because it's barely been a plot this season. We had that brief thing in that one episode, and then it kind of just went away. So the fact that it's back here, I think it's good that they're continuing it, but I did feel it was kind of just out of place. I don't know. A lot of that really did feel out of place to me. Some of it I really wasn't a huge fan of, but we see Rhonda's not happy that Andre wants Leah to stay with them, and Thirsty then loads Leah up in the SUV, but Andre pulls her out. Leah says that she wants to go home with Dwight. Lucious tries to explain that she's not like him and that, she's not someone they can trust. Lucious takes her home and then she eats, then puts her crumbs under her placemats, and basically, she says she wants to go to bed, says the nurse can take her. Lucious tells Juanita, the maid, to make sure she takes pills and make sure that she doesn't see anyone without permission, and says take the phones out of her room. And he knows all the things that makes her crazy. He knows all the things that really makes Leah so unstable, and he's trying to do everything to keep her stable because he doesn't want to have to go through her being unstable. I mean, Lucious had to deal with that for years, and he doesn't want to have to deal with that now. He knows how Leah is, he knows what makes her unstable, and he wants to keep her stable, which obviously she's not right now, but she clearly doesn't know that, and that's something that Lucious really wants to help her with. So we see Lucious glares as his mother walks away. Thirsty has Harper Scott with him, and she asks where they're going. This scene, I thought, was really out of place. I don't know what was going on here. She thinks they're going to see Lucious. He says she thinks running her mouth about Leah's not smart. Harper says she can't be threatened or bought. He drives her to a shady area. She asks if he's going to try and hurt her. He says get out. She does. She's grabbed from behind. A bag is put over her head. She's hauled away, and I don't know if we're going to see her again because we don't see her after the scene, but this really just seemed like pointless to me. I understand that obviously Harper Scott's this reporter that's trying to get all this juicy information and things like that, and I understand that Thirsty didn't want to get all this information, but this really seemed kind of pointless. I don't know why we had to see the scene. I don't really know what the point of it was. Harper Scott should never have been this big of a role. Like I said last week, I thought her thing with Lucia was really unnecessary, and again, we continue to develop her when we really don't need to. All Harper Scott needs to be is a reporter. We don't need anything else than that. I don't know why we're developing her so much. I mean, it really just seems pointless to me, really. I was not a fan of the Harper Scott stuff. She's not really working as a character for me. And she's hardly a character. She hardly is. She's simply just someone that interviews Lucious and things like that, and she's become a lot more, and we don't need her. So D Major comes to see Jamal at home and kisses him, says stop playing him. Jamal says he blew him off, and D Major says that was a work situation. Jamal says he's not out, and then he says he's out with girls at clubs for the paparazzi. Jamal says he works hard to walk in his truth. He tells Derek to stop and tells him he likes him a lot, but he won't be his secret. He asks him to go. Derek is upset but goes, and I can tell why Jamal's upset. I mean, after Jamal's now come out, he no longer feels pressure. He no longer feels sympathy for people who aren't out because of the fact that it was so easy for him to do that. He came out to the world, he's good now, and, what effect that's had on him we've seen, but he doesn't really, feel sympathy for Derek that he's come out. To me, though, I wasn't a huge fan of this. I really wasn't. I mean, I don't really think we needed this. To me, it kind of did feel like a rehash of season 1. Yes, it was trying to show that Jamal's not really afraid of coming out anymore, but it really just felt kind of pointless. At this point, they're kind of just giving Jamal whatever they want. You can definitely tell. I think they gave him a really good plot last week, but just having D Major be another love interest for Jamal, I'm just not into. I've never really found Jamal's love stories all that compelling. I didn't think this was that great either, and I'm still not really a huge fan of this. So Lucious relaxes, listens to music, and Cookie shows up. She says that whiskey's not a part of his juicing cleanse. She asks what he's afraid of and says that she's a feeble old little lady. She says that that's what he thinks and that's what she wants everyone to think. Cookie says that he's afraid of a scandal and he'll lose the Boom Boom love because of the fact that Boom 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 was all about Leah and how she, everything that happened with her and how he thought that she died. And she's worried that he's going to lose that love that he has for that song. And Cookie says it won't get out if he does right by his sons. He says that this is about the ASA performance. She says it's not what it is, and she says that he acts like he's in projects and says he's the king and has nothing to fear. She grabs a bottle, says that she's the one who should be drinking, and Carol then has lunch with Candace, asks her to keep her kids a little bit longer. She says that she needs to tell Cookie about her and Lucious, but Candace says that that's crazy. She says, what are you going to tell him? And she says that she promised her ex-husband murder some people while she was in jail. Candace says no way. Hurricane Cookie will go category 5 on them. A guy sits nearby listening, and we don't know who this guy is, but he becomes a lot more important later in the episode, which we'll get into. So Anika's happy with all the baby stuff that Hakeem sent over, and Rhonda also sent a bunch of stuff she had for the baby, and a box falls, and someone shoves Rhonda out of the way. That triggers a flashback to her fall, and she said that she felt like she was at the top of the stairs and felt hands on her back, and I feel this is 100% confirming that Anika was the one that pushed Rhonda down the stairs. I mean, there really is no other evidence that we need. I think it's pretty evident that the fact that Anika's still on the show, I think, is enough of a reason to show that she is the reason that Rhonda was pushed down the stairs. Anika asks if she's saying that she was pushed. Anika says she thought it was an accident. Rhonda says she thought that too. And I like that Rhonda's starting to, get a clue here. She's not completely clueless. She is realizing that there could be this idea that someone did push her down the stairs and that it wasn't accidental, and I did love seeing that. So Leah sits at the piano playing and sings. She asks if he remembers the song and calls him Dwight, and he keeps saying, my name is Lucious, my name is Lucious. He's clearly trying to abandon that part of him, and that's the thing about Lucious that I love, is the fact that Lucious isn't embracing who he used to be. He's still trying to put that behind him and doesn't want to be called Dwight. And yes, I understand he changed his name to Lucious, but if Lucious was mature, which he's not, he's still kind of like a child, he wouldn't keep saying my name is Lucious, which is very interesting. She calls him that, and he sits beside her at the piano and plays it for her. They sing together, and it's a really nice scene. You know, she asks if he remembers this song. She says he told his family bad things about her, and then says she was sick, but now she's better. He kisses her hand, says his name is Lucious. When she calls him Dwight again, he kisses her cheek, then leaves, and genuinely, I think Lucious thinks that she might be better. In the Borswood Cookie, they think Lucious is skipping rehearsal, and I love the way that this was done with Leah, because we really are trying to figure out, is she really as crazy as Lucious says? And in this scene, it seems like she's kind of normal. Sure, she's a bit unstable, and she does still think of him as Dwight, obviously, because that's who she raised, but other than that, she seems pretty normal, which we'll get into that later, but right now, she does seem kind of normal. So then he shows and tells Jamal he made some changes to the song. Jamal says no. Lucious plays a song that his mother was playing, and Cookie asks what it is. He says his mother gave it to him. Jamal says he likes it. Then he tells Hakeem, put his verse here and be honest unless he's scared. Hakeem raps about their family scrabbles. Jamal does his falsetto behind it. Hakeem sings about being ratchet like his mother and father. And Cookie says it's so good. Lucious says he knows they've thrown a lot of blows over the years and will throw more, and it really is that father-son duet that they've been wanting. And he says no matter what, he's still their father, and Cookie is still his first love, and calls them punk asses. And it's a really nice scene. You see that even though they are such a corrupted family, they are still a family, and they're trying to be a family, and it's a really good direction to take the show. I really do like seeing that. So the eavesdropping guy approaches Carol at the bar as she's about to drink, and his name is Tariq. He clearly is a cop, and she asks why he's in New York. He says he quit the force long ago. He asks what she's drinking. She says wild turkey. He asks what's wrong with it. He says that the ice is melted, and she hasn't touched it, and she says that she was waiting to toast. He orders a drink. She says freshen hers, but she says just cranberry juice. Tariq says that she won't make him alone, right, and says that she's got to get up early. He's got an FBI shield in his wallet, and of course now we know what Carol's done. We know that obviously she had to murder some people, and because of that, obviously Tariq is going to go after her, and I think Tariq really is just trying to get information out of her at this point. Tariq says that, you know, basically they toast, she drinks her juice, and it's clear that Tariq is not someone that can be trusted. I feel like he is still a cop. I feel like his agenda definitely is not in Carol's favor. I feel like he definitely is trying to get information out of her, and it's very interesting the way that was going. So very interesting stuff there. At the club, Andre takes the stage, talks about family and choosing one another. He said that that's family. He says they're not perfect, but that's all they got, and Lucious plays piano and Jamal sings first. Andre stands by Becky to watch them perform. We get this great song, probably one of my favorite songs we've had in the show, called Chasing the Sky. I really love this song. I think they really did a great job, and Jussie Smollett said that this was actually originally supposed to be in the season premiere, but it just kept getting pushed back, and I really think this was the best way to do it. Have it be a song between Lucious, Jamal, and Hakeem. It really just showed their family dynamic, and even though, again, this is a family that's very corrupted, at the end of the day, they do still love each other, and they will be a family, and they are family, and I really love that. That was a very powerful song, and I really went with the episode. I definitely really did enjoy it. One of my favorite parts of the episode, without a doubt. So Derek is there, sits beside a beautiful girl. It's the rehearsal for the ASAs. Carol's there too and grooving along. He puts his hand on his dad's shoulder, and Derek is eating Jamal with his eyes, and then Hakeem takes the stage, does his verse. Andre likes the song. Rhonda enjoys it too. Hakeem also slaps his dad in the back. Lucious then does his big verse. It really is an incredible song. I really think they all did a great job, and they all really contributed. What I love is that, of course, Hakeem said he wanted to be background. He got to do his verse, Jamal did his part, and Lucious did his part, and they all sing together, and the song ends with the little ditty that Leah played. Cookie whoops, and Cookie asks Derek if they get their spot at the ASAs. He says, fire, 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 and says they're a beast. Portia tells Carol that she'd be jealous if her sister had everything and she had nothing, then says that Carol isn't petty. Jamal follows Derek out, asks if he wants to come by later. Derek says he doesn't want to do anything that makes him uncomfortable, and Jamal says that he can handle it. Derek takes his hand, says okay. Jamal says later, walks back to his family, and Anika tells Rhonda that the wine looks good. So you can tell that Derek is starting to want to come out, and Jamal really wants to help him with that. So very interesting the way it was done. I'm not a huge fan of this, I have to say. I just think Derek and Jamal, I see the chemistry, definitely. I do see the chemistry. I think Derek's a good guy for Jamal, but I just don't really love the storyline. It really just feels like they're trying to do a rehash of season 1 with Jamal, except they're using Derek, and it just isn't as working for me as well as it should be. Just for me, kind of just, I don't know, I'm not a huge fan of this. So we see Anika tells Rhonda that the wine looks good when she pours a glass. Rhonda says that one glass won't hurt, but Anika says she's scared after the hospital, and her mom wants her on bed rest, and she says her feet are killing her. Rhonda looks at her shoes as she rubs her feet, and remembers them from walking out her door while she was on the floor, almost knocks out. Rhonda says the wine is making her lightheaded, and this definitely confirms that Rhonda knows that there definitely is something going on with Anika. Anika has to be the one that pushed Rhonda out. I mean, I think this is clear proof that Anika's the one that did it, even though they didn't actually say it. I think Rhonda really is starting to think that, holy shit, Anika's the one that did it, and it would make sense. Why is Anika suddenly being so nice to her? Why is Anika acting like this? I mean, it would make sense, definitely, and I like seeing that. I think it makes sense that Anika would do that. So Anika definitely to push her down the stairs. So definitely confirms that. I'm sure we're going to see that probably next week. So Lucious asks why Leah's up at 3 a.m. Then we get the last scene of this episode, which I know you guys want me to talk about. One of the hardest scenes I've ever had to watch on Empire. Very strange, but also very terrifying. He asks why Leah's up at 3 a.m. She tells him to sit at the table. There's cakes all over it. She cuts a slice. He asks where's Juanita. She says she sent her away and doesn't like anyone else in her kitchen. She says Juanita doesn't work her anymore and gestures with her butcher knife and says sit. He sits. She says eat it. Gives him a slice. This feels like something out of like a horror movie. It really is crazy. He says he's not hungry. She says eat it. She says she slaved making those cakes and he left her all by herself all day. He says he has to work, and I was thinking that the cake was gonna be poisoned or something, but she says everyone leaves. She gestures with the knife, says that she was fine till he was born. He brought all this wickedness into her life. She says that he didn't tell her. She says she didn't tell him to stop eating. He eats more cake. He says it's good. She says and she asks if he loves him, and she does his face. Lucious says yes, and she says liar. She says if he loved her, he wouldn't have put her away for 21 years. He says that she was sick, and she told him. She says that she was sick, and now she's sorry she was too weak to kill him when she had the chance. It's clear that she still is sick. Like, this scene without a doubt confirms that Leah's not better. I think, she wants stuff to think she's better, but she definitely is not better. She's just as fucked up as she was. She cuts another slice of cake, serves it to him, and that's where the episode ends. Crazy stuff, guys. Really hard stuff to watch this episode, I have to say, especially those last few minutes. Really hard stuff to watch, but a really great episode. I really love Leah being back in Lucious's life. There's a lot of things he can sort out, and I feel like Lucious is really going to realize how to deal with all this, because now that Leah's back, obviously, she's back with a vengeance. She's back to get her revenge on Lucious. Obviously, she feels like Lucious made her this way, which we know in reality he didn't. This is just how Lucious, Leah ended up. This is not because of Lucious directly. Obviously, yes, because of the fact that she was put away, she's mad at Lucious for that, and that is kind of his fault, kind of not, but I do really like the direction that that's headed with Leah. I think that's very interesting. I can't wait to see what that all turns out, and I can't wait to see what happens with that, because that looks really crazy. Someone is dying next week, apparently. We see it on the promo next week. Someone is dying. I don't know who it's going to be. I think Jamal, it's Jamal's time to go. I really do think so. The thing with Jamal, not that it's bad, I think just Jamal has a plot, and it's not really a plot. It seems like he usually just has a romantic thing in there that's never really worked for me. D-Major's nice, but if they got rid of Jamal, I would be upset, obviously, because I love he has a great voice. I think Jussie Smollett's a great actor, and he does a great part as Jamal, but it might be Jamal's time to leave. I really could see that happening. Let's talk about this Tariq guy. I really don't trust him, I have to say. I think Tariq is someone that I really don't trust. I think he is still in the cops. I think he is still trying to investigate Carol. I think that's all very interesting. As far as Thirsty goes, I have no idea what the team between Thirsty and Harper Scott was all about. It seemed very random to me. It never really did anything, so I don't know if we're going to see more of that, but that was kind of annoying. The Laura-Tiana conflict, I get why Laura's upset, but she really needs to realize that Hakeem basically just picked Tiana, not because he's still in love with her, but because of the fact that he just felt Tiana was better suited for the song. I totally would agree with that. The song they were doing, Laura just does not fit on. It's not her kind of song. It's definitely more Tiana's song, and that's something I think she needs to understand. And then the Aces are clearly next week. We're going to see how that plays out. That's going to be very interesting what happens with that. And then the only other thing is Rhonda. Obviously, I think this episode confirms that Anika is the one that pushed Rhonda down the stairs. I think it's pretty obvious at this point. It's obvious that she did. We'll see what happens with that. But overall, guys, amazing episode. Really did enjoy this episode overall. Really great stuff, especially that last scene. That was honestly pretty terrifying, I have to say. And whoever played Leah did an incredible job, I have to say. Let me know what you guys saw this episode. If your thoughts on it, we'll see you guys in the next show, which will be for tonight's episode of Outlander, which I have a lot to say about as usual, and I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.